It's your returning champion, Elgintensity, aka Trapalontant. YouTube recently demonetized a bunch of right-wing channels because a Vox writer couldn't handle banter, but there's another purge to worry about. This one's caused by a different kind of thin-skinned buzzkill who doesn't know what bullying is, but has clearly taken a lot of face shots. Some Canadian researchers who think that dodgeball is oppressive.
Well, you probably played it in gym class and on the playground, and there are even adult leagues that exist today. But a group of educators say that dodgeball in schools is harmful. A trio of professors are giving a presentation in Vancouver this week stating that dodgeball reinforces oppression. Players in the game throw the ball hoping to hit others who don't get out of the way in time, and that eliminates them from play.
Look at him threatening everyone with that orb. That must have been how Grand Moff Tarkin felt before he destroyed Alderaan.
Joining me now is one of those educators, David Burns. He's also a professor of educational studies at Kwantlen Polytechnic University. Good morning, David. Glad you could be with us.
That feel when Mr. Burns was probably so bad at dodgeball that he was out longer than Smithers. It's time to learn about the problems with a throwing sport from a lummox who couldn't hit a British politician with a milkshake.
I'm glad to be here, thanks.
So, what is it about dodgeball that is so concerning to you?
Well, I think you need to start with games in general in school. When you play a game in a school, rather than simply playing it at home with your friends or something like that, we're doing that for a particular educational reason, and we really need to know what that reason is. So, in the case of something like dodgeball, we need to ask what kind of practice students are receiving in how to behave. One of the ways you can think about this is that if someone's going to be a good person when they get older, to have the kind of character that we want them to have as healthy, productive, and helpful adults, they need to have practice when they're young and in school exhibiting those characteristics. So if we want them to be empathetic, we need to give them a chance to be empathetic in school, which is why a lot of schools have kids take care of small pets or rabbits or things like that to practice caring for things. And dodgeball, in most of its iterations, it reinforces a lot of those things that we say we don't want.
And he doesn't actually explain his concerns to her. I want to throw a wrench at him. If he can dodge a wrench, then he can dodge a question. What's concerning about dodgeball anyway? It's not like they're beaning people with bike locks or throwing bricks through store windows. He wouldn't have an issue with that.
So, let me just say what I think you're saying. Are you telling us that people that throw the ball and try to get someone eliminated may grow up to be, unpleasant, unsuccessful, not so nice adults?
Well, unsuccessful, I think, is taking it too far.
Not as far as you took the word oppression. Kids tossing light projectiles at each other in PE class isn't oppressive. Parents encouraging other adults to throw dollar bills at their kids in bars, on the other hand.
But if you want people to practice the disposition of ganging up on people, or if you want them to practice really enjoying throwing things at people like that, it can lead to all sorts of other things in future. So if you actually look at the National Post article that was published on this just yesterday, in the comments section, you see exactly what the problem is. All of these people saying, I loved dodgeball when I was a kid, and then proceeding to just vent all of this just pure discomfort and anger, and it's because it's easy to do that if you've been practicing letting out your anger like that for a very long time.
You heard that right. If you see shit posting, then you can blame it on dodgeball.
Is it anger or is it just a competitive spirit?
Well, the competitive spirit can be competitive in the sense of helping people do something and trying to do the best job of it.
That is not at all what competitive means. Where is my wrench?
Or it could be competitive in the sense that we're trying to isolate particular persons, especially the smaller kid in the class who's already bullied for being small ends up being the one that gets ganged up on in dodgeball.
A smaller kid is harder to hit. If he's smart, he can use that to his advantage by hiding behind his bigger classmates. Dictatorial and dehumanizing aren't two of the 5 Ds of dodgeball, dipshit. A sport isn't problematic just because certain people keep losing at it. With these key exceptions, of course.
So, what do you want to see happen as a result of this report that you are presenting?
For the most part, what you want teachers to do in particular is to think very carefully about the kinds of lessons a game is meant to convey to students. So if you're choosing dodgeball, I think you have a responsibility to children to choose it for a particular reason, to know why you are, and to be clear about what we're trying to learn from it.
It teaches teamwork and, more importantly, how not to be a pussy. Those sound like good character traits to me.
I'm sure you heard the lead up. Adults, sign up to play this game.
A PE game that adults compete in? Looks like we found the next CrossFit Games event.
So, how damaging could it really have been if they want to play it when they're all grown up and they're off this schoolyard?
Well, of course, adults in a free society can do as they please, and I wouldn't pass judgment on those kinds of adult recreational activities. But that's a really different thing from a mandated activity in a public school, because of course we all must go to public school. And if I were to say to you that you must play dodgeball during the course of your workday, you'd probably say that's not appropriate. You can't force me to do that.
Are you kidding? Paid dodgeball? Sign me up.
I need to choose, and I need to know why.
If forcing kids to play dodgeball is oppressive, then so is forcing slow readers to take English classes, or full-time vloggers and streamers to attend resume building workshops.
I'm glad you came on. This is such a great talker. David Burns, really appreciate you being with us. I hated dodgeball, but I'm glad that you played along with us for this. All the best. Appreciate your time.
When his crusade fails, he'll go after Duck Duck Goose for singling out slow runners, and hide and seek for encouraging stalking. Dodgeball isn't oppressive. Sheltering children from safe exercise and healthy competition is. The only reason he wants the youth to never throw balls is because he could never grow balls.
0!
Like the video and subscribe to the channel, now.